Hello kids, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Ms. Aruni covering your grade 10 business and accounting studies. Our lesson number 9 is the bank account and the bank reconciliation statements. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to understand the bank account, post bank account transaction, reconcile the accounting errors, and make the bank reconciliation statement. So what is the bank account about? Businesses having savings and accounts in banks do transactions conveniently and securely by using the bank accounts. So for the saving purpose, business has saving accounts and fixed deposits, and for commercial purpose, that is to do their businesses, they use the bank current accounts. So what we consider is the bank current accounts. Bank current account help a business to do banking transactions in an easy and efficient manner. These accounts are similar to cash book, so we have to consider it as an asset account when performing the double entry transactions and record keeping. So here it is helping us to do our transactions in an easy and efficient manner. And since it is similar to a cash book, it is considered as an asset account. So we use it to perform our double entry transactions and record keeping. So what are the main accounting treatments of this bank account? Number one is the deposit of cash in the bank by the owner. So if there's a deposit of cash to the bank account, then the bank account will be debited as the asset account increase should be debited. And since money is deducted, the deduction in asset will be a credit entry. So bank account debit, cash account credit. When money is deposited, a duplicate of deposit slip is given. It is the source document of the cash deposit. So the source document is the cash deposit. Second one is the deposit of checks by the business. So if the business is depositing checks, we are not depositing money, we are depositing a check. So checks are legal documents used in doing transactions. We can write a check as an order to pay a sum of money to a person without giving them cash directly to hand. When a person pays us using a check, we deposit it in our account. So the deposit will be done as follows. The bank account will be debited with the amount given in the check, and the person who paid or the paid party will be the credit entry. If it is a debtor, he will be credited. If it is any other party, that party will be credited. So that will be the double entry. If it is given to business and not deposited, then we have to first debit the cash account and credit the particular person. So let me repeat again. If it is given to the business and we don't directly debit it to the bank, first we debit our cash account, and for the paid party we credit it, and later on, since it is in the cash account still, we have to bring it to the bank account and credit the cash, right? So this is how it happens. If it is not deposited, we keep it on cash and we credit the relevant party. After that, since we have to rectify that and to deposit it, we deposit the amount in the bank, so the bank becomes debit and the cash becomes credit. So this is a check deposit slip. We have the date, paid in credit, right? The bank branch codes, check numbers, everything is written here. Next, if it is about discussing about checks. So Pute, I hope at least you have seen a check, maybe your parents, or maybe they have received a check or they are doing a business. So whatsoever, you could have already seen a check. And even if you have not, there are two parts of a check, right? So this is the leaf of the check and here is the folio of the check. We write the date and the reason we paid the particular person and the reason, and the amount of the check. And if we have the balances or deposits or any other things we have to keep as a reminder, we can keep it here at the part 1. And the part 2 is the one that is given to the person to whom we pay, right? So here the date is mentioned and we write pay to the person, the amount in words and in number, and there's a signature. So every check has a unique number so you can easily identify it. So what is it about issuing checks? We can make payments to creditors, expenditure, and even buy goods using a check. It acts as a legal document similar to money. Each check has two parts. Part 1 is the counterfoil, where we write the details of the check issued, so it gives us a reminder of the amounts to be paid or due. While part 2, the check leaf, act as the document declaring the payment being made, which is given to the party to whom we owe money. So that is what I explained before at the time when I was showing you the check, right? So these are the details recorded. Please keep these things in your mind. There will be the date, the pays details, the balance, the check amount, and the balance carried forward. On the part 2, there will be the date, paid person, or the rupee values, and the signature. So when making a payment, we create a payment voucher. It is the source document in the business to make entries. So when a payment is done, this is how the double entry is recorded. The particular expense or the party to whom we paid will be debit and the bank account will be credit. As I said before, this is an asset account. Now we are discussing about the dishonoring of a check. So if we say honoring of a check, it means we can be able to pay the money, while dishonoring means our payment is refused by the bank. So bank usually refuses a payment when there's an incompletion of generally accepted guidelines, such as if there are not having a sufficient balance, if the place signature is different from the specimen signature, if there are incompleted areas. So when such happens, the dishonored check is notified using a check return notification. So this is what the check return notification looks like. There will be a picture of the return check. They don't send us the check back, and then the details are given. So what are the accounting treatments? Put if it is a deposited check that is dishonored, that means another person give us a check, we can deposit it and get money. So then before the dishonoring, when we deposit it, our account value, we think that our bank account amount will increase. So the bank account is debited and the person, since he paid, will be credited. But when the dishonoring happens, that is, this double entry is not really happening. So we have made a double entry which has not yet happened. So we have to correct it. So then the credited relevant party is again debited and the credited bank account, as we did not get that money, is debited. The relevant party credited is debited after the dishonor and the bank account which is debited now is credited. So if I explain it further, imagine we sell goods on credit 10,000 rupees to Amal, right? So when we are selling goods, Amal becomes a debtor, so he's an asset, he's debited and the sales account is credited. And think Amal gave us a check. So since that we think that we are going to get money, so we debit our bank account and we credit Amal's account. But if the check is dishonored, we have to reverse the entry. So then the credit entry of Amal in this green color has to be corrected. What we have to do is we have to debit Amal, stating that there's a dishonor of check. And then we have to credit the bank account stating that there's a dishonored check, right? So we put that in our bank while we use our opposite account's name. In bracket, we write dishonored check as well so that we can clearly identify. And if it is a check issued by us that is dishonored, what we do is before the dishonor, we think that we have made the payment. So we have debited the relevant party and we credit our bank account since we think that our money has already paid and the money is not there. But since it is dishonored, our money has not changed. It is still there. We have to debit it again, right? We have reduced it, but now we have to add it so that it goes back to the same amount which was there. And the relevant party debitor now should be credit because he should not be debited. So such way we rectify it. So for example, imagine we bought goods from Sal on credit rupees 15,000. So then purchase account is debited and the creditor Sal account is credited. And think we paid him by a check worth 15,000. So Sal, which was formerly credited, now is debited and the bank account will be creditor Sal is debited and bank account will be credited. But if this check is dishonored, we have to debit the bank account stating that it is a dishonored check and creditor Sal's account, since we have not yet paid, he's still a creditor, so we have to credit it. So I hope you understand what dishonoring of a check is about. This is the bank account of a business. So this is the ledger account of a bank. You would have these cash and the check numbers, the deposits, the payments, all these numbers in brackets are put there, the check numbers, right? Next, we are going to discuss about bank overdraft facility, the bank ODs. There are situations where bank provide the facility to issue checks more than the existing balance in the current account, which is called as a bank overdraft. That is, since we are doing our business well, and since the banks also need to provide us a help, they are giving us an overdraft facility. That is, we can issue checks more than the value we have in our account. Then business bank account will have a large credit balance. Can you remember I stated before that asset accounts usually have a debit balance? But still, when the overdraft facility is given, though bank account is an asset account, it will have a credit balance if the overdraft facility is given. The business has a liability to pay back this bank overdraft. May then overdraft එක අපිට කෙටි කාලින ණයක් වගේ. So it is similar to a short-term liability. So it's similar to a current liability. So we have to pay back, right? So now I'm going to show you what are the accounting treatments or how these overdrafting accounts are recorded. So this is your activity 2 in your textbook, right? In your lesson number 9, activity 2, this is about Viran's business. And here it is recorded the deposits and checks issued. And there are 2 requirements. You have to first enter them in the bank account and balance off, and then think that since you got an overdraft, you are able to issue 45,000 worth check more, right? So if the bank does not have an overdraft facility, we bring the bank balance of 45,000 at the beginning. There are 3 deposits worth 14,000, 15,000 and 16,000, and checks issued worth 12,000, 20,000, 10,000 and 34,000. So if this is the only things happening, the value on the debit side will be 90,000 and the value of the credit side will be less, right? So that is 90 minus 14. 76,000 will be the value of the credit side. So we have to add the 14,000 to make it equal, right? So this balance of this value is brought forward from this asset account. So as I said before, it will have a favorable balance of 14,000. Our business has a debit balance 14,000, which is more than the credit side. So this is a usual bank account. But if the bank has given us an overdraft facility, ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට තියෙන value එකට වැඩි අපේ debit side එකේ value එකට වැඩි value එකකට checks issue කරන්න දුන්නොත් what will happen? So here 40, all these records are the same. 45,000, we have 3 deposits and we have 4 payments. Imagine we have a 45,000 overdraft facility and we purchased equipments by paying through a check. So then we record that. Now see, this side total is 121,000. Sorry, this side total is 90,000 and the credit side total is 121,000. So a 31,000 overdraft or a 31,000 overdrawn amount is there, right? We have only 90,000 in bank, but we were able to pay 31,000 more. So because of that, by the end of the next month or the year, we had to pay this 31,000 back to the bank as it is an overdraft situation. So in an overdraft situation, we will have a credit balance. Of the balance brought forward will be a credit amount. So I hope you got the understanding of this. Pute, this is something really tricky. You have to be thorough and you have to simply understand this. Don't be afraid of bank reconciliation statements or bank accounts or dishonoring of checks. It is simply accounts. As long as you debit and credit it properly, you're going to get proper marks. So you have to understand each part. Now we are discussing the bank reconciliation statement. So I said bank account is an asset to the business. Since we have deposited our money, it is similar to a cash account. So we keep the accounting transaction similar to an asset. But for the banks, bank එකට මේක asset එකක්ද? නැහැනේ. Right? They are treating it as a liability. ඒගොල්ලොන්ට අපි අපේ මුදල් යාලට දීලා ඒගොල්ලොන්ට ඒක handle කරන්න දෙනවා වගේ වැඩක්නේ. So for them it is a liability. So every receipt of money they credit. Right? Can you remember the increase of liability is a credit and the decrease of a liability is debit? So when they get funds, they credit it, and when they make payments, they debit it. Right? So when we look at the bank statement, we have to be careful to understand each side. This bank statement is sent by the bank as the bank statement or the statement of accounts showing the opening balance and the items that are debited and credited during the month and the closing balance. So for the business, they send us the balance. So the debit side are the payments and the credit side are the receipts. So that this is how we get the bank statement. So when we are comparing to make bank reconciliation statement, we have to be careful. So there are times where the bank account in the business and the bank account in the relevant bank has differences. ඒ කියන්නේ in Sinhala, if I state that අපේ business එකේ අපි කරන record සමහර වෙලාවට bank එකේ සිදු වෙලා නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් bank එකේ වෙන direct records අපි business එකේ bank account එකට අරන් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So we have to consider all. Right? So these are the basics or the general reasons of having such differences. The reason number 1 is checks that are issued but not presented to the bank. Imagine we make a payment but the particular party has not bring that check to the bank. So what we have done is we have credited more, right? We think that we paid, so we have credited more, but they have not brought it. So then our bank account value is lower. So what should we do? We have to add that check to the unpresented check value and adjust the bank account value in the bank reconciliation statement. Just understand these parts. We will be doing it properly. I will be doing an activity with you in the next slide. Right? Imagine we are making a payment, then we have credited our bank account, but the bank has not get that check. So we have to change the bank account value to find what has happened by adding the unpresented check to the bank account value. Imagine there's a check deposited but not realized. So when we get a check, as soon as we get it, we debit the bank account. But imagine we get the money next year or maybe after few months. So what happens is our bank account will have a lower balance. So business bank account will have a higher balance. So we have to deduct this by unrealized check values in the bank reconciliation statement, right? So whenever we are comparing our bank account with the account in the particular bank, we have to be careful because payments recorded in our business bank account will not be recorded at times in the particular bank statement, and the deposits made by our bank account in the business might not be really received by the particular bank or the current account, so it might not be there in the bank statement. So all unpresented checks and unrealized checks goes to the bank reconciliation statement. Then there are other times where there are different transactions that happen directly in our current account and we as the business have not recorded them. For example, direct remittances. That means direct payments to the bank account without mentioning it to the business. So if we have received money directly to the particular current account, we have to debit our bank account as well. So when we are making the adjusted bank account, we correct it. Imagine there are bank charges and checkbook charges. We don't know the exact amounts. So when we receive the bank statement, since we have not credited those expenses, we can credit it at the adjusted bank account. And there are standing order payments. Imagine we have an insurance or else electricity bill or telephone bill. We know that each month we get a standard amount. The same amount comes each month. So then we can ask the bank through a letter to pay it every month. But if we forget to record it in our business bank account, we have to see the bank statement and credit that in our bank account in business so that all the direct receipts, bank charges, and standing order payments will be adjusted in the adjusted bank account. So I hope you got an idea where the differences of the bank account and the bank statement occurs. So this is the step-by-step procedure in adjusting these accounts. So whenever we are doing this, whenever you are given an sum, right? If you are given a sum, you have to be careful. You have to see the business bank account and the bank statement. Mark the unrecorded items in both. If it is omitted entries, that means business have forgot to record them, you have to put it into the adjusted bank account. And imagine all the things are recorded in the business account, but it is the bank that has made the mistake. Can you go to the bank and ask them to correct them and give us a corrected bank statement? We cannot, right? They are giving us the reality. So what we have to do is we have to prepare the bank reconciliation statement, adjusting the unpresented and unrealized checks using this adjusted bank account, right? So this comes in a linear manner. We check the business account and bank statement, we mark the unrecorded items, we make the entries on the adjusted bank account, and from that balance only we are creating the bank reconciliation statement to get the same balance from the bank statement, right? So though my explanation might be a bit hard for you to understand, this example will clear out all your problems. So now look at these two statements given. Right, so this is our bank account of the business and this is the bank statement. So as I said, debit values are the payments, credit values are the receipts. So both 16,000 balances are the same. They have received 20,000 cash deposit is recorded. right? And then salaries paid, check number 501, 8,500, it is also recorded. 17,500, check number 502, recorded. Rent 503, is it recorded? No, it is not. So we put a mark to it. Next, check deposited 142, it is recorded. Check deposit 15,000, it is recorded. Check deposit 184, is 184 given here? No. Is there 18,000? No. Then this is not recorded, right? Direct remittances, is this recorded? It is also not recorded. So we see side by side. Later on, is the standing order recorded 19,000 as payment? No, this is the balance carried down. You have to be careful. You have to see the amount as well as the description. So is check deposit 505 recorded? Yes. Is it 12,000? Yes. Then creditors 506, is it recorded? We have recorded. Business has not recorded. Is 2,000 bank charges recorded? No, it is not. So we have 6 entries which are not recorded in these two, bank account and bank statement. Right? So I hope you have identified that with me. If not, please pause the video and mark those. Next, see, I have taken these 6 unrecorded transactions to one page. Right? So all the things that we have omitted from the business bank account is prepared through the adjusted bank account. Remember to put the name adjusted, right? Because we are adjusting it. We have properly created the double entries, but now since there are things that we have forgot to add, we have to create this adjusted bank account. So the first one is a standing order payment. We have to definitely pay. So then you have to credit that amount as standing order payment 19,000. Rent 503,000. Sorry, rent 9,000. See here, Pute. We have already credited it. Are we going to credit it again? No. That is a check that is not presented. So it should be going to the bank reconciliation statement and not to the adjusted bank account. So whenever something is there, you have to, if it is, mostly if it is checks, you have to be careful. You have to go back and see the bank account and the bank statement again and again when you are making these transaction entries. You might think it is time consuming, but at once you can identify all the things if you do it clearly from the beginning. So we leave that out. So that is why I have highlighted it. Creditors paid, right? 17,000. See, 17,000, check number 506. 506 is not mentioned. So that is also a unpresented check. That is why I have highlighted it. Next, direct remittance. Direct remittance means we are getting a direct deposit. So we have to put it in the business account because that 8,000 is not there in our bank account. So I have added that as well. Then check number 184 of 18,000 that has been thought as received. Mebalan, we have thought it as we have received it, but it is not credited. 18,000 credit velana. This one also we have to leave out to take as the bank reconciliation statement, right? And then bank charges, we have not mentioned that 2,000, sorry, we have not mentioned that 2,000 here. So we have to go back and add it, right? So after all these things are added, we can balance this out and see. So this side we have a 27,000 total. This side we have a 21,000 total. So the balance is 6,000. So we take that to the bank reconciliation statement. This bank reconciliation statement is made just to find that The total of the bank reconciliation after we correct the errors equals to the total given here. Right? මේ මෙතන තියෙන 14,000 වලට අපේ bank reconciliation statement එකේ balance එකත් සමාන වෙනවද කියලා බලන එකයි බලන්නේ. අපි කරපු errors මේ විදිහට enter කරලා බැලුවාම. Right? That is the only thing we are doing. We don't do anything to this reconciliation statement or the adjusted bank account. We are just posting those. You can understand those things in our future grades. For now, just understand it is really compulsory to find the things that are applying to the adjusted bank account and the bank reconciliation statement. Right? Can you see I have highlighted those things that come to the bank reconciliation statement? So similarly, at least put a dot in front of those that comes to the bank reconciliation statement. Now see, we have put rent 503, check number, creditors 506, check 184. Do we know whether they are debits or credits, whether they are unpresented or unrealized? You might be confused. So please go back and see here, check deposited 184, and then it is an unrealized check, right? So that is a check that is not received. So then we have to reduce it. May bank එක value එකේ may 18,000 value එක තියෙනවා. ඒක අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ අපේ original amount එකට අපි අරගන්න නම්. So because bank has added this more, we have to reduce that. That is why we are reducing this 18,000. Right? Now see, this rent amount 9,000 and creditors amount 17,000. Bank has reduced it. The bank statement has not reduced it. So what we have to do? We have to add those two because it is already there in the bank statement. So since we add those two, see 6,000 plus 26,000, it is 32,000, and we minus this 18,000, the balance of the bank statement equals to the balance of the balance of the bank reconciliation statement equals to the bank statement balance. So this is the brief summary that I can provide you. So if there's anything, even if you still have trouble, go through this lesson again, try to do a sum. Though people think that, though your friends say that this is a real hard part, it is not. You just have to step by step follow this lesson and simply do your activities given so you can easily get a good grade. So hope you enjoyed learning this lesson as well. Thank you.